go. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, here we go. Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren.
Hello.
Hi. We have a podcast that we do, Lauren.
Yeah, this is it.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we're here. If you want to,
not the promo. This is the bit.
I always get that mixed up. If you want to send us email, just email to podcast@wildershow.com. That is spelled just the way it sounds. Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays at 6 a.m. Central Time, sometimes earlier, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. Whew, it's a lot.
It's all the things.
So welcome, and just real quick about something we did. The last several weeks, we've done something that I said I'm not going to talk about it on the podcast until someone sends me a note about it.
Okay.
And I've gotten a couple of notes about it.
Mm-hmm.
So those who listen to the entire podcast, you will know what they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be one of the, as Lauren refers to you, the small but demented followers.
No, it's not demented, right? It's a small, deeply disturbed following.
So welcome. You know, if we're all the same, we all seem smart, right?
That's right.
So
they're probably the same people. The people who have noticed are probably the same people who sit in a movie theater
watch the credits.
through the credits.
That's right. I do that.
Just in case something
like
really
it.
cool happens,
That's right.
like
You never
in
know.
Ferris Bueller's Day
never
Off.
know.
You know,
You
and other
never
movies
know.
too, none of which come to my mind right now.
How about Being There? How about Being There? One of the greatest ever.
Yes.
The great Peter Sellers, one of the greatest
yes.
ever. So anyway, those who know, I made up this other thing I've told you about before. IYKYK. It means if you know, you know. A lot of people are using that now on hashtags and stuff like that. Anyway, on social media, if you know, you know. IYKYK. So stick around to the end if you want to. You'll be glad you did. And then you know what you're going to do. You're going to go back to past ones and do the same.
Now I feel like it's not
giving it away.
No, we haven't given it away. It might not be as good as the end of Being There, though.
Oh no, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
No, it's not as good as that. It's only as good as we are. So we're not Peter Sellers. We have no staff. Okay, let's dive in. We have to talk about this whole thing with Jeffrey Goldberg and the president and DOD and is it Hegseth?
Hegseth.
I always put the P in the middle of his back.
Hegseth.
His second name, but it's Pete Hegseth. You know, Signal is a texting platform. Mm-hmm. Remind me later, I have a new platform I'm coming up with.
Oh, yeah.
But Signal is encrypted. Mm-hmm. But, you know, encryption is only as good as having the right people on it.
Right.
Sort of like, a gated community is only good if the bad guys are on the outside.
Right.
If you have a gated community and the bad guys are on the inside, it sort of messes the whole thing up.
And it's still subject to human error.
Of course, that's right. And so what happened, you probably certainly have seen this by now. I mean, if Jimmy Fallon and the
late night boys
are talking about it, you know that it's sort of a big deal. And what happened was, remember the bombing of the Houthis in Yemen? Was it Yemen? Yeah, it was Yemen.
Yeah.
And the bombing of the Houthi tribe, the different Houthi leaders. And that was not technically a war plan, but it was an attack plan. Mm-hmm. And was it technically classified? I don't know, but you wouldn't want the editor of The Atlantic to be on the thread.
Probably not.
Jeffrey Goldberg, not to be confused with Jonah Goldberg, but Jeffrey Goldberg, who is the editor of The Atlantic, was on the thread and has released all of the texts from that thread. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, the editor-in-chief. And he was added somehow to the group Signal chat by Trump's National Security Advisor, Michael Waltz. Mm-hmm. And it was in that thread, the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, shares the details of the military attack plans in Yemen.
Right.
And it wasn't just the people that should have known about it. It was other people. Mm-hmm. And so it's become a very big deal that, is this worthy of an investigation? How is it possible that, and then of course people say, well, this is sort of the slipshod sort of work that they do. It's amateur hour. These are not real, would never have happened with this previous, leader, either president or Secretary of Defense. It would never have happened with them. It's happening here, and it's all because these guys aren't serious people. When I say these guys are not serious people, I mean a lot of people view the Trump administration and the people that he put in charge, like Pete Hegseth, as not really being serious. Mm-hmm. So a DHS, that's Department of Homeland Security, employee who was put on leave because I don't know whether they are really the ones to blame for it or whether they're, getting being thrown under the bus or whatever.
Yeah, they're just taking the fall.
But he's been put, she or whatever, they've been put on leave. The officials reporting this did not want to identify, it's actually a woman, identify her out of fear she would face retaliation from members of the public. So what's happened is they have this staffer. Turns out it's a woman, not that it matters, but you might be wondering, is it a man or a woman that did this thing? And this woman is in trouble for this thing. Meanwhile, Pete Hegseth is not in trouble. Others who were involved in that are not in trouble. They're not paying any price for that. But if she was the one that allowed Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, to be on it, then, yeah, it probably is on her and probably the right thing's going to happen. But before you sort of toss this away and say, well, it's no big deal, it's not that big a deal, I always like to turn it around. Just turn it around. How would we act if it were some other, let's say Hillary or Kamala Harris, and if it was some other journalist had been put on the list, our heads would be exploding. Sure. So, but this goes back to what we talked about before. You have to be able to be critical where it is warranted of the side that you supported.
Or at least, if not, honest.
Yeah, right.
Discerning.
Yeah. I mean, it is what allows you to be believed when you're critical of people. We talked about that. Yeah. Critical of people that, you didn't support. Anyway, but even GOP lawmakers are, turning up the pressure. They're maybe not calling for his resignation yet, but they are saying, hey, this probably ought to be investigated. Even our own Senator Cornyn said, look, they ought to just admit they made a mistake.
Somebody made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, just admit it and move on. But then they don't do that. You kind of go, okay. Or even Britt Hume. So Britt Hume, let me read the quote here. Hegseth's defiant insistence on a tarmac in Hawaii this week that he didn't text any war plans provoked eye rolls from prominent commentators such as Fox News' Britt Hume, who reposted a video of Hegseth's comments on social media platform X and wrote, "Oh, for God's sake." Like, you got to be kidding me. You just admit you made a mistake. Don't make it worse by denying. In fact, that denial came right after someone else who was on it said, "Oh, yeah, that's the real text." So it's a mess. Once you make a mistake like this, just admit it and move on. Otherwise, you're just going to, it's the old thing, the cover up is worse than the crime.
Right.
This wasn't a crime. But was it a bad thing? Sure. It was. Was it a war plan? Oh, it wasn't a war plan. It was just an attack plan. Oh, okay. Well, then that makes all the difference in the world. If people are playing word games like that on the other side, our heads on this side, our collective heads would be exploding, and so would President Trump's.
Sure.
It'll be a story. It's not going to go away. We'll keep watching it, and there you go. That's what that's all about. It was the case that somebody who should not have been on a text thread that did include, while perhaps not classified material or classified information, certainly sensitive information, we wouldn't want that to be floating around and eyes on from Russia or from China if we're planning to bomb the Houthis.
Right.
Bomb the Houthi out of the Houthis, which they did. One of the texts said, hey, we had positive eyes on this certain Houthi leader, and that he had just gone into his girlfriend's apartment complex. They said that building is now completely destroyed. It was completely blown up. We don't want that information in other people's hands. Frankly, I don't want it in my hands.
No.
We don't need to know about it. Just take care of business, man. Just take care of business and make the world safe. Don't tell us all this stuff, and certainly don't include, people who shouldn't be involved in it. I think a lot of it has to do with the old saying, if you don't want to watch sausage being made, just enjoy the taste of it. You really don't want to know all the stuff. No, you don't want to know all about that stuff. And it's sort of like that. I think just, you want me on that wall, you need me on that wall. Let that be enough. And I think usually that's a good idea.
I think you're right. On to a much lighter story, but still focused on the president in this case. Did you see the thing about the presidential portrait that that has been hanging?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Was it in Denver or something?
No, it's in Colorado. It's in the Colorado State Capitol. And it's been hanging there for a while.
Okay.
It was painted in 2019. It was actually painted by an artist that painted a portrait of Barack Obama that President Trump likes.
Okay, wait. So President Trump liked the one that was done by a certain artist of Barack Obama, and so he approved the commissioning of it for himself?
I don't think that he did.
Okay.
That's what I thought earlier today. I've read a little bit more about it. It was the oil painting was commissioned by Colorado Republicans, and they raised more than $10,000 through a GoFundMe account to have the oil painting done, and then it hung there next to a portrait of Barack Obama that was done by the same artist.
Yeah.
And it turns out that President Trump doesn't like it. He doesn't like the way he looks in it, and he said he wanted it taken down immediately. The weird thing about this is, now he said, the president said, nobody likes a bad picture or painting of themselves.
That's true, though.
That is true.
Yeah.
And I can totally get behind that.
Yeah, sure.
But I didn't think it was that. I mean, I thought he looked pretty good.
Pretty good.
I really did.
I did take a look at it. I thought he looked a little droopy, and maybe he is really droopy in real life, but I really did. I thought it was a little bit smooshed down.
Well, I thought maybe there was a little extra weight in his cheeks, maybe, and maybe he's lost weight since then, and he wants it to. I don't know, but he said he really didn't like it, wanted him to take it down. Yeah. He believes that it was purposefully distorted to a level. I'm quoting him now, to a level that even I perhaps have never seen before. So like the most distorted painting. Here's the thing that really
the likes of which no one has ever seen before.
Here's what really gets me about it, though. If this was done in 2019, if there was a painting of me hanging somewhere that was done in 2019, and they said we're going to pull it down and we're going to do another one of you now, I don't know.
Don't do it now.
No,
I like that one.
I mean,
that's
5-6 years ago.
Yeah, I like it.
I keep it at that age. I have to get a new driver's license, and I'm really happy with that picture that's probably close to 20 years old. Now I'm going to have to look at my driver's license and and see all the years right there in my my driver's license every time I look at it. So I don't know I don't know for sure that they're going to commission a new painting, or if it will just.
Well, they said he spent money. I mean, he spent money on it, and now they got to take it down.
I know. I wonder who'll get it. I wonder if it'll just stay in storage.
You know what they
somewhere.
should do?
What should they do?
They should auction it off.
Oh yeah.
And then take the money and apply it to a new one.
That's a great idea. You want to run that?
Yeah. Auction it off. Yeah, you be in charge of English language, and I'll be in charge of this auctioning of this painting.
Okay.
But they should auction it off actually to the other side. So you can always do something, make more money if you auction it off to the other side.
Yeah.
And then they would maybe pay more money.
Huh.
Then you could pay for a new one with skinnier cheeks or whatever he's looking for.
Why would the other side pay more for it, do you think?
I'm not trying to give my bad ideas, but sometimes people buy stuff because they want to be disruptors or something.
Yeah.
Like if I bought up all the albums of some artist that doesn't agree with me on important things, if I bought up all the things, and then if I just rolled over them in a truck or something,
that seems so wasteful, though.
Well, but that's what rich people do sometimes. We waste some of our money.
Oh, you do you?
Yeah. Sometimes we have extra money. We just want to don't want to mess things up. No, I don't have any. Yeah. I don't have any extra money, but I think sometimes people do that though. Like buy something and then shred it.
Gotcha.
As a matter of art, you could take a painting and then you could have it halfway shredded and halfway not shredded, and then have that framed, and that could be the painting. See, that's a good painting. I mean, I'm not saying people should do it, but I'm just saying you could make some money from that, and then you apply it to something that he likes. That's okay.
Speaking of paintings and art, and this isn't even on our we have really very exact, like we have blueprints
plans
for the
podcast. Yeah, one would never know.
This is not even on it. It's just something that occurred to me. It's a bonus
in the middle.
It's we're gonna go off script here.
Oh my!
You've mentioned something about can dogs create art, or can animals create art?
Yeah, and can I explain that? What I was wondering, because we've talked about before when we talk about AI and is it really art? If AI has created it, and as I recall, you have held the position that you'd have to. It's not the same. I mean, if you want to know who wrote the song and who was that sang, you want to read about their life and follow them and all this kind of stuff. And I was I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that if that's true, would we then, like if an elephant's tail is dipped in paint and then somebody like scratches one side of it and he's trying to swat the flies off his rump and that becomes, is that art or is it just?
Maybe.
I don't think it is. I mean, I don't think it's art. I mean, if you shove a bunch of paint,
can I look at it first?
If you shove a bunch of paint in the exhaust pipe of a car and crank it up, and it just blurts out, pink and yellow and blue, and you have a canvas there waiting.
A car is very different from an elephant.
Yeah, I just don't. So I was just wondering, is that possible for that to be art? If you can't follow their Instagram account or whatever. I know there are people that do that kind of nonsense for animals, and then other people who follow that kind of stuff
nonsense
of animals. But
how dare you?
But I was just wondering that's why I was wondering if animals can, if it's art, is it really art? If an animal created, is it art? If you painted the bottom of the feet of an elephant and then told him to walk around for a little bit.
That that may have been done already. That might be hanging on the wall of a gallery
the rich
somewhere.
People again, extra money.
Yeah. Well, another time, since we weren't planning on talking about this
now.
here.
Okay.
Well, I have actually, I have.
You have an answer to the question.
Yeah. Well, I don't actually have the artwork yet, but I have the plans to do it. It's just it was a little craft project.
Okay, you tell it.
With the dogs, it sounds really cute. You put some paint on a piece of like watercolor paper. Not watercolors though. You just need it to be a thick enough. A thick enough piece of paper.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you put some like acrylic paint on it, and then you put some like saran wrap, some kind of plastic wrap over the paint and tape it down over it. And then you put peanut butter on the plastic, and then you let your dog go for the peanut butter,
and then it would move the paint around under it.
It moves the paint around exactly. And then you have like a little bit of artwork that your dog did for you.
What? And I can live with that. That's okay.
Really?
It's nice. I like stuff like that. But if a person had made that same thing, like the very same thing. You would probably think that's not a very good painting, is what you would probably think.
No, I don't. I mean, I see.
You'd have to, every time you have to explain, look, this may look like it's nonsense, but let me tell you what it is. My dog was trying to look up peanut butter.
That was really,
and it resulted in this.
That I'm first of all, I'm not saying I really didn't plan on doing it and might not do it at some point in the future. But is it art? I don't know if it's art.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. It's fun.
I can see like some abstract painting that I don't understand at all. But I'm not going to say it's not art just because it doesn't appeal.
But just remember, I'm the one that said, it is art. So I'm the AI. That's sure. That's a different kind of thing.
Yeah. But I don't know. I have a harder time with that.
I know. But you accept But see, you thought that. Scott Peterson shouldn't be able to play pickleball, but then when you saw somebody else who got to be in murderers in a Shakespeare play, then it was like, okay, let's open it up to everything.
I just said I rethought my position, and I mean
that's good.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Do you know what BNPL service is? BNPL.
You said BNPL services?
What is a BNPL service?
BNPL. P maybe private.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not.
What is
Have you heard of Klarna? Do you know what Klarna is?
No, what is Klarna?
When you, if you buy something online, quite often now, you'll have an opportunity to, right before you pay for it, it'll say, do you want to split this into 4
I've seen that,
payments? So Klarna, and Klarna is one of the services that does this.
Okay, I know what that
Klarna is a buy now, pay later service. And there are a lot more of them springing up. I think maybe even PayPal, I don't know. Other services will allow you to split things up over time. So Klarna is joining forces with DoorDash. So now you will be able to split your burrito into 4 payments, which has, economic experts
Absolutely
in an understandable tizzy. They said, we are already an increasingly debt-ridden economy. They gave examples of how you could wind up paying, $70 for that burrito by the end of it. If you're late on a payment, or if a payment tries to, if it's being extracted from your account and there's not enough money there, and you get an overdraft charge, and it's a nightmare in the making.
It's just kicking the can down the road.
It is.
And it's like you feel like if I can get it, then I have the money, so it's not that big a deal. But you don't have the money, and you end up, paying way more than you should. But people are like that. People, it's why these monthly things. Whether it's taking care of your car monthly, I'm going to do the Home Shield warranty, the whatever, all the things. Everybody wants to get on the monthly thing. The workout places, what do you call it? The health clubs,
like memberships?
Yeah, they knew. Sell it all at Christmas time. We don't care if they ever come. Just don't cancel your membership.
Yeah.
So $30 a month, we get $30 a month. It's $1 a day. So let's just tell everybody, for $1 a day, I mean, you can look like him, or you can get her, or you can look like her and get him. And everybody says, I want that at Christmas time. I want that. And so they do it, and they keep it in. As long as they don't cancel their membership, it doesn't matter. The health club doesn't care. Right. If you cancel or don't cancel it, they just don't want you to cancel your membership.
I think people are going to eat the burrito. They're just going to, next month they're going to remember that, I never really paid for that whole thing.
We just had a thought, again, unscripted. They could combine the eating too many burritos and also needing to work out.
That's a really great,
So buy a burrito.
Look at how you're
and then
firing all those.
Trying to get everybody to get it together. That's good.
Firing. That's very good.
But what does that stand for? BNPL.
Buy now, pay later.
Oh, of course.
And,
I didn't know that.
DoorDash says it is essential to meeting our customers' needs. So lots of food delivery. I guess you can get a few other things through DoorDash too, but they're basically things that you should probably have the money for them when you order.
That's true. Oh, it is time for Scattershoot.
Okay.
Wilder Show Scattershoot. This is that drawer in the kitchen with all the things and the keys that you don't know. I don't know. It might have gone to the last. Listen, we emptied out the last house's kitchen drawer like this, and we just dumped it into this one. It could have been from 3 houses ago.
Houses ago.
We don't know. It's not just like that, but it's Scattershoot's sort of a different thing. Yeah, you see it from there. So Scattershoot. So welcome to Wilder Show Scattershoot, and remember, we have a little something for you. Just keep listening throughout this whole thing. Some people have discovered it, and they think it's a bit of a giggle. So
okay.
I have a new platform, Lauren. I'm still workshopping it a little bit, but it's a new platform for communication. People like to come up with different things, different apps and things. And you've seen Bumble is one. You've heard of that.
I know about Bumble.
You've heard of probably Rumble. That's one. I think it's out there. It's a platform.
Not as familiar with that one.
Rumble. I think I don't know. You write
everything.
stuff on it, and everybody gets to see it. That may be a reduction of what it is. It's not really part of their pitch to.
That's the tagline.
Yeah.
Just write a bunch of stuff here. And
we let you write a bunch of stuff, and we show it to some other people. That's not really for the venture capitalist presentation to get your VC funding round 2. But I have one. I have a platform, and it is for posting, but it's for people who want things to be different. Okay. And it's called Grumble. So it's it's a grumble, and so I'm working on it. It's I don't know. I'm still working it.
So Bumble
helps
you gather people to you.
That's right.
And Grumble helps drive people away from you.
The way we like to say it is, we help you get rid of the people you really want to get rid of anyway. You can't bring yourself to break with them, and we are here for you. So anyway, I also had another thought the other day. We were talking about something. I think about the music thing. We're doing the music thing. And if you haven't done the music thing yet, there's an app now for the light.
Oh, yeah,
and you can do that. We do the music thing 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. weekday mornings. Lauren and I do. And you can download the app. All you have to do is, it's, what do you call it? It's on Android, and it's also on iPhone. Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is go to the app place where you go and just search the Light DFW.
That's it.
And you'll find it, and you can download it. It's all kinds of stuff. You can, email, whatever. You email to your, I like that. That's my favorite feature, actually.
To be able to text
you're listening,
it or email
it
right
to, then you push this thing with like a Y on its side, and you, that means to share with people, I think. Mm-hmm. And it'll show you can do it on text or email or on your socials or whatever. Mm-hmm. You tell everybody, it's a good thing. But we were talking the other day about how you would collect, a lot of people collect autographs and things like that.
Yeah.
And you pass it on to people that really want them.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking about some of the things you used to get, and like from singers or whatever, and you would give them to your sister.
Yeah. Back in the days when we first worked on music radio a long time ago, somebody was there. I think it might have been Carmen.
Carmen, the singer.
Or maybe, it was probably Carmen.
Okay.
Carmen was there, and he'd had a water bottle that he was drinking out of when he was on the air with us. Mm-hmm. And he left the room after the interview was over. We all said our goodbyes, and one of the water bottle stayed behind, and it just had like a couple of drops of water in it. But I grabbed it and I gave it to my sister, and I said, "This was Carmen's water bottle," and she made a big deal out of it. She was really excited about that. And then later, I got Michael W. Smith's Sharpie.
Okay, good.
I passed that along.
So Michael W. Smith touched this Sharpie.
Yes, he used this Sharpie. Good. So now this is yours.
Right.
And then later, Steven Curtis Chapman was with us in the morning, and he'd had a bag of donut holes. Okay. And so there were a few donut holes left in the bag when he left, and so I gave those to my sisters. Mm-hmm. These are Steven Curtis Chapman's donut holes. So that was the end of my collection, though.
Well, and I was just thinking, though, because stuff changes over time. Mm-hmm. We have more technology today than we did back then.
Yeah.
And we have DNA, we have touch DNA technology, all kinds of things. Can you imagine the singing Frankenstein that your sister could have put together with the little pieces that you've given her over the years?
I'm quite certain that never occurred to her, and I don't think she has the donut holes anymore.
I was going to say, you got to hang on to stuff, kids. You could have the drive and the singing DNA of a Steven Curtis Chapman. You could have the looks of a Carmen and have the connections of a Michael W. Smith and the musical ability, all there, right there in some drawer in the Pacific Northwest. If she could just dig it all out.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Giggle. Oh, real quick, Chili's. We talked about Chili's and Chili's the restaurant. And the 50th anniversary was a couple weeks ago, and we talked about that. Chili's turned 50, and the original Chili's right there on Greenville Avenue. And I still remember going there. Then they tore it down and built a new Chili's right there on that same place. It wasn't the same. It had a 2-story. It was the first one was really, really small, but it's kind of nice to go to the very first Chili's. And now it's like a 7-Eleven or something. It should have been a historic landmark in my view.
Oh, yeah.
They should have held on to that. Anyway, Chili's is back in the news this week because there will finally be a Chili's in or near Scranton, Pennsylvania.
That's right.
The Dundies.
Of course. I'm not sure if it wasn't the first Dundies.
No.
It was the first Dundies that we saw on The Office. I think it was from the first season, maybe. Mm-hmm. And they took place at the fictitious Chili's.
But there was no Chili's there.
There was no Chili's there.
Yeah, and now there is.
Now there is.
And so I just was, reliving all that, and I was remembering Pam, one of my favorite characters there in the little television show. And I remember her saying, I feel God in this Chili's tonight. It's like she was a little bit...
She's a little
bit
tipsy,
relaxed
yeah.
at that moment. But anyway, so Scranton is getting, or near Scranton, is getting a Chili's, finally getting a Chili's after all these years and all that pub they got. She got in some trouble, but we have to detail all that with Chili's. But
right.
Any case, so Chili's in or near Scranton now, and that's pretty cool.
I'm going to give you the headline for this story.
Okay.
All
right.
And then you're going to try to guess what the story's about just based on the headline.
I love this game.
Okay? The headline is, It Sucks and I Hate It.
And I'll
give you
so
a
many
hint.
categories, so many things that could apply to.
I'm going to give you.
I don't know.
Give you a little hint. It's something that we've talked about on this podcast recently that you really don't like. I know even that only narrows it down
that's
so much.
Yes, as you've said off mic many times. Wow, so many opinions. I know there are lots of things that I hate, and so I have.
Okay.
I spread that a disagreement out far and wide.
Self-checkout.
Don't like it.
So did you remember what the genesis of self-checkouts invented in 1986?
Yeah.
Check Robot was the name of the company. Said it was going to reduce long lines in the grocery store, reduce human interaction, which I know. I mean, you could have gotten behind it based on that, if nothing else. Make checkout lanes faster and reduce labor costs. Okay. It reduced the need for cashiers, for cashier costs by 60%. And grocery stores were going to save a lot of money.
Yeah.
As early as 1987, the group vice president at the Kroger company told a newspaper, the funny thing about it is, in reality, it takes the consumer longer to do their own checkout, but they think that it's faster.
That's right. Yeah.
So if they perceive it as faster, it doesn't even really matter if it takes a long time. So fast forward a bit to 2021, when a poll showed that 67% of customers have experienced failures when using a self-checkout. But another poll said that 85% of customers really believe that they're typically faster at checking out the groceries, but they're still not.
Well, let me say a couple of things. I think the self-checkout should be something like for 15 items or less. I don't like seeing people that go in there with a whole cart full of stuff. They're going to be in there for 20 minutes doing that. And look, it's their choice. They want to do it. I like to employ the people. I like to, and they can do it more efficiently than you can do it. You have one little tiny place there. You have a big conveyor belt over there in the little cubby. So let them do what they do, and you do what you do.
At my grocery store of choice, there are two different self-checkouts. There is an express self-checkout that has like 4 registers.
Okay, I got you.
And then there's a regular self-checkout that I think might also have 4, but you go there with your larger, with your big cart full of stuff. But you're right. Neither one of them. That's one of the biggest problems, I think, is it's kind of cramped.
If
you do have a whole cart full, where do you put all your groceries?
I can barely put my stuff in there. If you had dog food or whatever, and you got it all there, you can't even put it. And then if you don't put it in the right place, the thing isn't weighing it, so it doesn't know that you think you snuck off a carton of something or a case of something.
So anyway, now customers and cashiers alike hate self-checkouts.
Yeah.
They're considering it a failed experiment.
I agree.
Their tech difficulties takes people longer to check out. Sometimes people might miss scanning an item. Sometimes maybe on purpose, even shrinkage in grocery stores. Other items ring up incorrectly. It's just a mess. So I don't. Nobody says they're going to go the way of the dinosaur or anything like that.
Maybe it won't take over everything.
So that could be. Can you imagine?
No, I don't want
no cashiers.
No.
There are already stores like that you can go
one
in
lane open.
Or where there's like nobody in there at all. Have you ever been into one of the Amazon stores?
Oh, sure.
I think, where you just go in and there's no human there at all. You just walk out with your stuff and
Let me tell you a little grocery store story. I had my very first job where, taxes were taken out was as a 15-year-old. I was stocking and sacking groceries at Minyard food stores. And I loved working for Minyards. Actually worked at number 6, which was Sonny's Minyard food store. Or Sonny Williams, I beg your pardon. Sonny Williams married Gretchen Minyard. And so it was Sonny's and Gretchen's Minyard. Anyway, I worked there and did that. I remember a day when, well, they used to do a thing, stay with me as we go back in time, but every week you have different prices.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might have, let's say normally green beans would be 39 cents
right.
A can. And then there'd be a week where they were 3 for $1. Okay, so you save 6 cents per can.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to go, if they're marked with ink, you have to go through all the stuff that is in the shelves and put on this ink eradicator.
Mm-hmm.
Like you put you're playing bingo at the
Yeah.
bingo hall,
Uh-huh.
and then you rub it all off, and then you put the new number on all those.
So time consuming.
Wait, but then if you have some of the things don't have the ink, they have the what?
A sticker?
The little sticker.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you put stickers, one of the things you used to see stickers on all the time?
What's that?
Like dried beans or dried rice.
Oh, like on a bag of...
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I challenge you to pull a sticker off of that plastic.
So you couldn't just go over the old stickers, right?
The thing is, if you do that, sometimes when the prices go back up, someone will pull that sticker off and show that it's really the lower. So they encourage you to go ahead and take those stickers off. Anyway,
sure.
That you have beans all over the floor. So what would happen is if you worked on a Sunday at a grocery store, you were in charge of price changes.
Mm-hmm.
So you get the sheet of paper that says, okay, here are the price changes for the week. And so you go and you haul out all the stuff that is still in the shelves and you reprice all of those things.
Man.
And then you put them back in the shelf. And there was a time when they said, okay, they're changing the way they do the new prices.
Okay.
And we said, okay, so what do we do? They said, we no longer have to do the price changes. So on Sundays, you don't do price changes. They said, no. I said, well, how's it going to work? They said, every one of the things has this little barcode on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the barcode tells the new price. So we're not going to put the prices anymore on the cans. We're going to put the prices on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how people are going to know how much they charge. Or
is
how
that a paradigm shift?
Isn't it crazy?
Would you say you were
Listen
there
to this.
for that?
Yeah, it really is crazy. And so here's what I said, well, how do they get the prices? How does every store know what the new prices are? And here's what they said.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make those changes down at the main office. And then the computers down there are going to tell our computers what the new prices are. And then at midnight, early morning Monday, all of those new prices are already on and applied to all of the items in the store.
And your minds were blown.
Bang.
Welcome to the future.
I couldn't believe it. It was the craziest thing. So the next Monday, when the Monday little flyer comes out, when you go to the grocery store, and I guess people still do this. I mean, I don't do it, but people come in, I see what's on sale, and they go through and they, can't do this anymore, but you get like a free 5-pound bag of sugar with a purchase of $20 or more or something like that, or a bag of sugar is a nickel or something. Those things would all be on that sheet of paper, but nothing would be marked on the items themselves on the shelves. They would all be attached to that barcode, which was at the time completely mind-blowing.
I have a question for you. And you might not even remember this, although it seems like the kind of thing that might stick with you. What happened? So it was your job, part of your job, to change those prices. Did anybody
lose their job
because they just weren't needed anymore to do that work?
No, they did something else. I mean, it was good.
Okay.
It's still stocking, still grocery, whatever. Plenty of stuff to do. They weren't robotizing, whatever it is, roboizing everything. It was just a big change that happened, and I happened to be there when it's the same way I felt when I was in college.
Yeah.
This will sound really crazy. The colleges have the placement offices, right? Where a lot of people, some people I'm told know what they want to do when they get out of college. And so they've already planned ahead. And then other people that I know, worked at a radio station for a long time. They had no idea what they wanted to do. And then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I'm graduating on Saturday. Is it May already? And so you go, I got to go meet somebody in the placement office. I got to figure out what's, So I'd like to live over in this certain city. And what do you got up there? And so I was told by this guy, went in there, and he said, well, let me tell you, he said, here's what's going to really be a big deal of the future. And he said, it's called the telefacsimile machine.
Oh, wow.
He said, the telefacsimile machine. And, of course, I said, what is a telefacsimile machine? Mm-hmm. At that time, we didn't even call it a fax.
Right.
It was a telefacsimile machine. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, here's the way it works. He said, you ready? And I said, I'm ready. He said, here's the way it works. I take something that's on a piece of paper, and I put it in a thing like a copier here. And I dial up your number wherever you are, and I push a button, and it goes through like it's printing it out here, but it prints it out there. I said, wait, hold on a second. I said, I'm going to run back through this, make sure I understand what you just said. You're saying if you are here and you write down, hey, how are you doing, Scott? And you put it face down in your little copier, where I am, if I have a copier like your copier, then the two copiers are going to talk to each other and it will just come out where I am. He said, that's exactly right. And I couldn't believe it. It was as much like being in The Graduate, where the guy says plastics. He puts his hand on his shoulder out there by the pool. Says, one word for you. One word. Listening. One word. Plastics. But it was that sort of mind-blowing thing. Yeah. So I've seen a couple of things like that, and it's just of course, there's no more fax anymore. It's email and whatever now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Isn't that crazy?
That became the newest thing, and it's already gone. It's gone. I know everybody feels like this, but isn't it amazing that all of that stuff happened in one lifetime? Not even the whole lifetime. Who knows what else you're going to see?
My grandmother. My mom's mother was born, I think, in 1901 or 1902, and she died in 19-something. I can't remember maybe 80s, somewhere in the 80s maybe. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, in her lifetime, we had gone from the Wright brothers to the space shuttle.
No way.
In her lifetime.
No way.
Is that insane?
It is.
So, yeah, who knows? I mean, kids today, I think I was born in 61, and I think there was something that was born along with me in 61. It wasn't the microchip, but it was something like that. Or maybe TI was founded or something like that. Mm-hmm. The calculator, something began, and then where we gone from this to this, or wherever it is at the end of my, this. What it would be. But anyway, so yeah, things change, and it's fascinating to just stop for a second. And I don't mean what I'm saying is fascinating, but I mean, in your own life, when you stop and think, well, this is what I've seen, and this, just jot it down. Mm-hmm. So remember, Lauren, plastics. One word, plastics. All right. That is the end of our podcast today. Find us on the web, wildershow.com. Find us on Instagram, and you can do that. I think it's Wilder Show Pod, and you will find us there. So you can find us on Instagram. I don't post much, but you said you have something you wanted to.
I have an idea.
Okay, good. We'll do that. We'll do that perhaps. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays at 6 a.m. Central on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you get your podcasts, including YouTube. And a reminder, Lauren and I bring you some great music, 5 to 9 a.m. weekday mornings. Make sure you get the app for The Light, and just search where you get your apps, search The Light DFW, L-I-G-H-T, The Light DFW. Then join us, and then tell your friends, friends, and of course, be over the podcast. So we're here wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure that you like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share, and we will see you again.
We will.
Da 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 da
Where's all my stuff?
What stuff?
All my stuff. All the stuff that I have.
I don't know. Is it this?
No.
Okay, did you maybe leave him back there? You haven't even been near a garbage can, right? So
But I had the thing about the thing. I wrote down all the stuff.
The thing about the thing with the stuff.
Yeah, I don't have that one or the other stuff. You never know whether this stuff is just, it's not a big a deal, but people are making it a big deal, whether it's a really big deal. I don't know. Okay. I'm in. You'll be in. Can you imagine the singing Frankenstein that your sister could have put together with the little pieces that you've given her over the years? All there, right there in some drawer in the Pacific Northwest, if she could just dig it all out.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Giggle.